not to really carry my position on my head.
So they went yes and no, and only one person voted no.
Ooh.
They said, oh, they are going to the social to find out who put that.
Politics is today, it can be over. But the other aspect of it is something that is going to be your career.
To the dinu of Puni Ben Shakana Wunsoboton. To the dinu the Zo the Yelena Wunsobo.
I'm absolutely entirely for making not just Wa campus, but Navrongo campus, Tamale campus, even Nyankwala campus, autonomous universities. The more universities we have in the northern part of Ghana, the better for all of us.
And
welcome to my Northern Achiever with me, Abdul-Jalil Naabeli, a son of Musa Kumo on Sagani TV. Hello viewers out there, good evening and welcome again to another edition of my Northern Achiever with me, Abdul-Jalil Naabeli, son of Musa Kumo. It is always a delight to welcome you to the program, and as usual I'm going to go for a very quick commercial break. I'm back shortly after I introduce my great personality today and we start the interview. Don't go away, stick and stay. We are back shortly. Thank you so much for staying with me on my Northern Achiever on Sagani TV. My name is Abdul-Jalil Naabeli, a son of Musa Kumo, and today I have another very great personality, a northern son who we are all proud of today because of the achievements that he has been able to achieve for himself and for the society in general. My design today is by JB Fashion Design, almost just right behind Lemashego Market. You will get them. I'll give you their phone numbers in the course of the program. My haircuts by Bako of Zaku's Haircuts inside Yendi. Thank you so much. And my guest today is someone who has been in the media, he has been to academia, and he has been to a lot of things, and we are going to have all of these things revealed today. My guest today is none other than Prof. Amin Alhassan. Prof, you are welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Abdul-Jalil. It's a pleasure to be on this very important program.
I think we've been chasing you for close to a year now, or more than a year, and you've been busy, and you felt that at the right time we would do this, and thankfully the right time has come. Now, I'm going to have to start with who you really are, because it's always important to know who you are, how you were brought up, so that at least we'll get to understand the kind of upbringing you got to make you this great person that you are today. So who is Prof. Amin?
To put it simply, I'm a boy from Tamale, or precisely Mafandia.
Okay.
Moshizongo is where I was born and raised, but I think my family originates from Savlugu. I guess my grandfather migrated and ran away to Tamale because he didn't like to farm. So we grew up, were born and raised in Tamale, and attended schools, basic school in Tamale, secondary school in Navrongo, secondary school, the Great Navasco.
Okay.
And SFOM in Tamasco. And then went to the Ghana Institute of Journalism to do journalism, against the advice of my family, who wanted me to do law.
Wow.
I pursued the journalism career, and later I went into the academia, and now I think I might be going into media management.
Wow. In fact, I forgot to tell you that Prof is just is been appointed, or is it appointed?
Appointed.
Yes, the Director General, incoming Director General of Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. I believe he is to start work around October this year at the GBC as the Director General. What a great man indeed he is. Only a few privileged people in the media always have this particular opportunity, and we are thankful that our own one of our own is getting to that particular position. And so, Prof, I would like to use this opportunity to congratulate you on your appointment. And I want to delve deeper a little into your upbringing. You know, what kind of family do you come from and how were you raised?
I think I grew up in a polygamous home, an Islamic home, and in the Banle, what we call Dundong Tetale, meaning that you live in a compound house where you have your father, mother, stepmothers, aunties, uncles, and brothers, cousins all around you. So I grew up in this typical Dagbang compound house and compound family, and I really relish and enjoyed every bit of it because it has a way of humanizing you. It has a way of making you appreciate what family is about and what relationship is about. I think that is precisely how I was raised.
Okay, so now then, let me come to push you a little further on this particular issue. Our society is seemingly departing from this particular, kind of family. Anybody who gets some money goes to build a small self-contained house, put the family there. Compound houses are no longer seen around the north. Do you think it is a threat to our cultural values? And what is your advice on this? Do you support this?
There's nothing very fixed about culture. Culture has to be dynamic. We used to have a moment in time where it was a norm to grow up in the family house. There has come a time where the place gets crowded, people move on to separate and build their own homes. And instead of building compound houses, they build what we call bungalow or secluded, semi-detached house. Now, that is very good. There's nothing really bad about it. But it is important that we let our children appreciate what the family house is about. I have a situation where I make sure that every Friday evening, my kids move with their bags to stay with their grandma, and they are moved back to my house on Sunday.
Okay.
We do this every weekend. It's a must. And when the school is on vacation, they can move to their grandma's place and spend about a month or as long as the school break will allow them. And they get to relate with aunties and everybody. And that type of relationship, that type of movement, is a response to our circumstance where the convenience of living apart is accommodated, as well as the values of family house, extended family relations can be accommodated. So that is how I have responded to the circumstance. But I think that we cannot say that breaking away and going to live in a bungalow or where you have a secluded detached home is bad. It is the circumstance of our times.
Okay, you've already spoken a little about your education. I know you went to Navasco, and unfortunately you went to Tamasco instead of Ganasco, so I'll let that one pass. But let's take it from primary. Which schools did you go from primary to middle school, and then we skip Navasco and Tamasco, then we go to the tertiary?
Well, I went to Tishigo Anglican Primary School, and I still remember my first day in school.
Wow.
My mom, we lived in Moshizongo, and she held my hand, crossed to the road of the main Bolaga road, and after 3 houses, she told me that just follow the others going, and as they turn around, you follow them, you'll get to your school. And around Waters Canteen, Tishigo Primary School is there, and I ended up there, and I went to Block A, and they told me my name wasn't there. I went to Block B, and my name was there, and that is how I started school, Tishigo Anglican Primary School, Block B.
Okay.
From primary 1 to 6, and then from middle school, Form 1 to Form 2 before I left. And it's very important to note that By the time I got to P6, I got struck by the fact that not a single teacher of mine came from the north.
Wow.
They were all Southerners. P1, I was the only person from the north. Anglican school was predominantly police barracks, police kids, people working in offices who have been transferred to Tamale, prison officers. And so it was quite a surprise for me to have my first teacher in primary 6, Teacher Muni, being from Tamale too. And it was so exciting. And when I went to middle school, Form 1 and Form 2, I still never had a contact with
Which middle school did you go to?
Again.
Okay.
And so throughout my basic school, I only had one teacher from the north, all of them in Tamale here. And that tells you those days what schooling was about. And I left in Form 2 to secondary school Form 1.
Okay.
To Navarone Secondary School. That was I was quite really small in my cohort. I was really the smallest.
Okay.
And I went to school in 1979. Navarone Secondary School.
Okay.
I actually, when I went to Form 1, Alhaji Mohammed Haroun, alias Cambodia, was a senior prefect.
Okay.
In Navasco. So he was a very powerful influence in my ability to survive.
Wow.
In this strange environment in Navrongo. And I had others, but the Navarone Secondary School was a very wonderful experience for me. You can just know that, yes, I had my O-levels in Navasco. I got admission to Navasco Soph-Form, but my parents refused and denied me that opportunity. They told me they wanted me in Tamasco as Soph-Form, and so I was sent to Tamasco. Okay. I kept holding my admission letter from Navasco for more than 1 year because it was really a parental fiat that I go to Tamasco. So I went to Tamasco, and after Soph-Form, that I then moved to do journalism. It was my passion, my interest actually. And when I graduated from the Ghana Institute of Journalism, I was posted to the Upper West Region, Ghana News Agency, WA Regional Office.
Okay.
Yes, that's where I had my first actual taste of journalism. But under training, I had attachments at Ghanaian Times, GBC, and GNA for the period that I was training under journalism. But I had my full-time work as a journalist in the Upper West Region at WA office of the Ghana News Agency.
Okay, so right from there, I know you had a stint at GBC as well. Was it right from GNA that you went to GBC?
No, I resigned from GNA.
Okay.
And GBC advertised for reporters. I applied. And we were shortlisted and interviewed. And they wanted to employ 15 reporters, and I was lucky to be one of them. I came for the interview, and I was lucky to get the job. GBC was far better than GNA in terms of salary. And conditions of service. So yes, I was happy and privileged to be the staff of GBC, and I went there. I worked in the newsroom right away in radio, and
in Accra.
In Accra newsroom, GBC radio in Accra. I was there 1992 to 1994.
That's 2 years.
When I resigned to go to graduate school in Finland.
Okay, right. So let's now move to Finland, because it means that you had just GNA, GBC, then up to Finland. Now, what did you read at Finland?
At Tampere University, I did journalism and mass communication for my master's.
Okay.
And they are very resourced in terms of training. Finland has a very resourced school system, from primary basic school to tertiary education. So everything was free.
Wow.
And I enjoyed it because whether they had a radio station, you could take a program and host and be doing your own thing. Academic journalism, training in journalism, yes. Media research, yes. They had all of that. And they always made sure that they had visiting scholars who come in there and give you 1 week intensive training on various aspects of journalism.
Okay.
So, for example, I was in Tampere University when the World Wide Web emerged, internet.
Wow.
And there was a lot of excitement around internet. The web we use today, the browser, actually became mainstream in 1994.
Okay.
The web, but the internet was already there. So when I arrived there, we were given a course on how to send an email. Today, it is very easy. The system wasn't like it was today. It wasn't on Windows, so it was on DOS, and you had to go and learn a bit about to be able to send emails. So we started getting introduced. So Tampere in Finland was a serious, it had a very powerful transformation on my learning, my skill set, and my outlook.
Wow. So right after there, that was your graduate course. That was master's, so to speak. But right from there, you went for PhD. Was it still in Finland?
I spent a year in a Finnish PhD program.
Okay.
But after 1 year, actually my second year, I had fundamental differences with my supervisor over what to do.
Okay.
And Finns are very interesting people. He was very frank and honest and told me that I could actually look for other places where I could do the kind of research I wanted to do, because he didn't like it and he didn't think he wanted to work with me on that. So he was the one who actually helped write reference letters, support.
Okay.
And when I showed him Concordia University in Montreal, he said, yes, that is it, apply. And I applied. So I relocated to Canada in Montreal to pursue a PhD program in communication and culture.
Wow.
They had mass communication PhD program, and I was interested in communication and culture, and so I relocated to Canada, Montreal, to study communication and culture for a PhD.
Okay. Then was it right after, or it took some time before you got your professor? Before
What happens is that in the academia, it's a world standard. So the Canadians have it, the Finns have it, we have it in Ghana. When I was doing my PhD, I was also a lecturer.
Okay.
When I was doing my PhD, I was also a lecturer at Concordia University.
Okay.
And part-time teaching at McGill University.
Okay.
And depending upon how many years you teach and your publications, by the time I finished my PhD, I got my first book published in the communication policy. And the number of publications I had, and they are more particular about certain top-ranking journals. And I got a few of them published there. I got some book chapters. So the position of an assistant professor was advertised at York University in Toronto.
Okay.
And I applied, interviewed, and got selected for the job of an assistant professor of communication at York University. York University is in Toronto.
Okay.
Don't confuse it with University of York in the UK.
Okay.
Now, after teaching there for 4 years, the amount of publications I had qualified me to apply for promotion to the rank of an associate professor. Now, normally when you go into the university system, there are clear definitions of who can get promoted.
Okay.
So when I submitted my application, it was processed, and within 1 year, I got the 5 assessors all recommending that I merit the position at the rank of an associate professor. So I got promoted to
an associate professor.
So you don't apply to be a professor. You don't get appointed until you submit yourself for evaluation.
Okay.
You have to put together your publications, submit it for evaluation, and when the Canadian system requires 5 external reviewers, and that majority of them must come from outside the country. So I got reviewers from South Africa, the UK, and the United States, and then 2 from Canada. And when they were all brought together, I remember normally the majority, 4 were very overwhelmingly supportive of my being promoted to associate professor, and based on that, I was promoted to the rank of associate professor.
Wow, what a way to have a guest on my Northern Achiever. And you know, you are one of the very few rare professors I've seen. No beards, no hair. And so we'll talk about this philosophy of professors having too much beard and hairs right after this commercial break. Don't go away, we'll be back shortly.
I am Honorable Salfu Said, Northern Regional Minister. I want to appeal to the general public that they should keep on watching my Northern Achiever because it's very educative.
Make a date every Friday at 8:30 p.m. only on Sagani TV.
Thank you so much for staying on with my Northern Achiever, and you are welcome back from the commercial break. My name is Abdul-Jalil Naabeli. I am a son of Musa Kumo, and it's always a delight to have great people like this on the show, sharing with us their experiences. And I have always learned a lot from my guests, and I do believe that the youth at home watching are also learning. Parents are also learning on how to groom us so that we can also become greater than these people in the future. And I would also like to say that we need support and sponsorship. We've been with this for about 7-8 months and still no sponsorship. I do believe that everybody understands and everybody is saying that the program is nice, it's good, but no one is saying that there's the need for us to support the program. There's always the need. A couple of people have supported. Yes, we are grateful for the support and everything, but we need sponsorship. Sagani TV has done very well to have a program run on your platform for this long without getting a penny from the program. I think they deserve a round of applause for whatever they are doing, but it cannot continue like that. We need to get sponsorship, otherwise if they take us off air, let no one blame Sagani TV for doing the same, because it is all of us who have contributed to same. Thank you so much. And now, Prof, how has it been like, working as a lecturer in a foreign land?
Finland was a very unique place in the sense that at the International School of Social Science where I taught, it was a classroom you will go to and you will find a classroom of 25 people from 15 to 20 countries.
Wow.
That means that, and for Finns, it was a privilege to get to be allowed to go to study in the International School of Social Science, also in Tampere. So it was a purely international environment. And they were mainly European, Asian, with a few sprinkled African students. And that was my first actual exposure to teaching in the university. And it was very enriching in terms of when I was to go to the classroom for the first time, I wasn't so comfortable with the experience. So I went into my supervisor, Professor Carl Nordström, and I said, Carl, and it's Finnish culture, you call your professor by his first name.
Okay.
It's their culture. They don't like titles.
Professor.
I said, Carl, I have my first class tomorrow. He looked my face and said, Amin, that's how they call Amin. I guess you are not comfortable. Let me tell you the trick. Just make sure you are properly zipped. And stand before your students, you'll be fine. So I started my first teaching experience in Finland, and I really enjoyed it.
Wow.
But in Canada, it was a home away from home.
Okay.
Montreal and Toronto are highly multicultural societies.
Okay.
Montreal, Toronto, and Vancouver, but I was in Montreal and Toronto. So when I started teaching while doing my PhD in Concordia University, my class was quite a good mix of Canadian, Asian, Caribbean, and African students. And so I felt more like at home. The campus was very multicultural.
Okay.
We had a lot of Ghanaians around. And there again, I started, teaching is a very fun thing. When you start teaching at a university, it will take you 3 years to be a good lecturer. That's the average. That was my experience, and later I came across research that showed that it takes 3 years for the young lecturer to be very, very comfortable with his work and mature. And so I really think that's what happened to myself too. And teaching, then after I finished my PhD and teaching both at Concordia and McGill, I got a job offer. I went for interview at Ryerson University. I said Ryerson, sorry. Simon Fraser University in Vancouver, Barnaby, Vancouver, near Vancouver.
Okay.
And after interviewing for the job and getting the appointment, I got another appointment from York University, and I preferred York. In fact, my wife then said we should go to York because it's in Toronto, and we're all living in Toronto, so it was easier.
Okay.
So I accepted the York University offer, and in 1st July 2004, I started work as a lecturer at York University.
Wow. So after how many years did you spend in Canada?
I went to Canada in 1998.
Okay.
And I left there effectively 2012.
Okay. So usually I get enthused when I see somebody like you had all the opportunities in Canada, and then eventually you left to come to Ghana. Why did you leave Canada? Did anything or anybody chase you out of Canada? Or why basically did you leave Canada to come to Ghana?
It's a good question. I think it was a personal decision with me and my wife, and we did it. We agreed. Before I left York University, I resigned. Before I resigned, I was tenured. Tenure means that the university, you will teach there till you retire.
Okay.
That's permanent appointment. Tenure in the university means that
you will be there until you retire.
You retire. Okay. And when you retire, you can still hang around and teach for another 5 years to 10 years. So most professors tend to leave the university at 70. So I could be there till I'm 70 years old. But I learned a lot. I took intensive training at York University. When they give you an appointment in the university, they also provide intensive 3 months training of what it is to be a lecturer. I learned a lot. I taught there. I taught largely. I was very happy. But there was something lacking in me. I had a lot of impact in terms of students and teaching, graduation. I supervised a lot of master's degree and 2 PhDs. But there was something, and I never knew what it was until I decided to spend my sabbatical year at UD. And I was about to go to Tanzania to spend the sabbatical year there when my good friend from Ghana, he was then teaching at UDS, Alhaji Gilbert Idi, told me it was a bad idea. I could actually come to UDS where he was. And I said, well, let's try. So when I visited Ghana, he took me to the then Vice Chancellor, Noko, Professor Noko, and he told me that, my brother, please come. So yes, I agreed to come and spend my sabbatical year. Sabbatical means that you will get a year off your job. They will still give you your salary. It's like leave.
Yeah.
But for 12 months, you can go to anywhere you want in the world. You still get your salary, and you can do whatever with your time. So I spent that time at the Nyampala campus here in UDS. And that is when I discovered what was lacking. Appreciation of the work you do. Students' appreciation of the work you do. Communities' appreciation of the work you do. In Canada, you can walk to the classroom to teach, and a student will simply relax and not pay attention, and after 30 minutes, he will use the left hand and say, "Sir, excuse me, can you go back?" And you ask yourself, why at? But that is normal in that culture. There's nothing wrong with that culture. That's their culture. But it offended me. But I had to accept it. Then I also realized that they took it for granted. That, the lecturer is there. That's his job. I've come as a student. When I taught at the Nyampala campus, I had a graduate seminar. When it was time, the students did not want to leave. In Canada, when the time is up and you continue teaching, the students will start walking out. Because it's time, sir. Why are you still teaching? So these were some of the small petty things that when I experienced the sabbatical year in Ghana, I said, wow, this is what I have actually been feeling that I'm lacking. Now I found it. Appreciation. And I decided, on the prompting of the then Vice Chancellor, Professor Haruna Yakubu, that I should relocate permanently to Ghana. And even as I was still contemplating, and once in a while I'll be thinking twice, when I went back to Canada, the Vice Chancellor would once in a while call me on the phone and say, hey, you promised you were going to relocate to Ghana. Are you still coming? And I said, yes. So gradually, I mustered the courage to quit my position
at York
University and accept a lecturership position at UDS in Ampala campus. And I have never regretted it.
Wow.
Because I can see that, I can look back and tell myself that I have impacted on lives, that the difference I've made is good enough to make me feel that I'm appreciated and I am satisfied with the impact I've had.
Wow.
More especially when I was already under obligation to give back to the very community that nurtured me from a rustic young boy from Mochizongo in Tamale into an academic.
Wow. I believe that these are things that we all will be learning from. And let everybody go back to where you come from. Masa, if you go back to where you come from, together you can help build the place. And so I can only thank you for taking such a decision. And a lot of us have actually really benefited from you.
Thank you.
In a way or another, because even if I've not been lectured by you, I've read a lot about you. And anytime I read about your story, it inspires me. And that was the more reason why I kept pushing that I need to get you on the show. Now, how have you risen at UDS from a lecturer? I think you were dean of students at some point. How have you
not
risen?
dean of students.
Okay, dean of the faculty. Yeah.
Yes, at UDS, I realized that there was a serious space for me to contribute.
Okay.
In my own way. So when Professor Haruna kept on calling me, and he said, I want you to come and start a faculty of communication studies at Nyampala campus. I said, I will come. And when I arrived, he gave me the task. He said, I told you I want to do that, so please give me a proposal. So after 3 weeks, I went back to him and I said, VC, I think the assignment is good, except that I can't just do communication alone. There is a lot of work done by my predecessors, very illustrious, professors like Professor Sadito, in creating a agribusiness school, but it has never taken off. But they have started an agribusiness program. So I said, I will twin communication with agribusiness because they are cognate in the sense that, especially in the area of agri-extension, you will realize that the two have something in common. So I will twin the two and make a proposal. He said, go ahead. So I worked on a proposal to establish a faculty of agribusiness and communication sciences. At that time at the Nyampala campus, they only had a faculty of agric and a faculty of renewable natural resources.
Okay.
So faculty of agribusiness and communication sciences was what I championed. And in order to do that, I had to create a department of communication, innovation, innovation and technology. Okay. I also had to create a new department of climate change and food security, because the government requirement is that a faculty, at that time, a faculty had to be 5 departments. So there was already existing Department of Agribusiness and Department of Agri-Extension. And together we had the necessary 5, and Department of Agriculture and Resource Economy, we had the 5 departments. So I put in the proposal, and the Vice Chancellor took it to the University Council, and it was approved. Then the work also involved proposing new degree programs.
Okay.
So I took some team together, I led a team, and we developed the first degree program in communication in the northern part of the world, country, which was the social change communication, which was a combination of both journalism, organizational communication, and development communication into the degree called social change communication. We've produced students, I think 2 cohorts are out there graduated, and we are going to be graduating our 3rd cohort. This is how I worked in UDS. And for doing these processes, I got elected into University Council as a professorial rep. I served for 2 terms, that is 4 years as University Council. Okay. I've done work in various UDS committees. I would say that I've contributed enough. Anytime there's some task given to me, like the UDS statutes, we spent 2 years working on it, consulting various stakeholders, and I led it as chairman, and we produced the statute, which is reason today. That's what I would say I have done at UDS and contributed my bit. But during this process, apart from being a dean, at some point I was appointed the dean in charge of the campus as well as dean of faculty. Okay. And these are I have never been a dean of students. I've rather been a dean of faculty and dean in charge of the campus.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So I guess we will have to go for this quick commercial break. We are coming back shortly after, and we'll conclude on UDS and its issues. Then we now go into some other issues before we conclude on this session. We are back shortly after this commercial break.
My name is Ibrahim Tanko Amidu. I'm the Acting Chief Executive Officer and the Program Director of the Sagani Foundation. I would urge everyone with an interest in the North and the development of the North to watch Northern Achievers on Sagani TV. It is the program to watch.
Thank you so much for remaining loyal to my Northern Achiever on Sagani TV with me, Abdul-Jalil Naabeli, a son of Musa Kumayo. Welcome back from the commercial break. I'm still with Professor Amin Alhassan, the incoming Director General of the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. And so we were talking about UDS and how you have risen, taken positions, and the contributions you have made to UDS. Now, you left the Nyankwala campus at a point to Wa campus. You know, what was the transition about?
Let me make it clear that I have not left the Nyankwala campus.
Okay.
It's very important we understand how universities run.
Okay.
As I sit here, my office as a lecturer is at the Nyankwala campus.
Okay.
And I have the keys to my office. I go in there once a week or two, sometimes once in every 2 weeks, to meet my students, my graduate students, and meet with them. My academic department, my primary appointment is into the Department of Communication, Innovation and Technology at the Nyankwala campus. However, I have administrative responsibility at WA as the principal of the campus. What it means is that the position of principal is not an academic appointment like a dean, but that I am in charge of the functioning of the campus as a space for academic work. Administratively, I'm the head of the campus, yes. But if you look at how universities run, most of the work, academic work, teaching, lecturing, is done under the supervision of a dean, even up to examinations. The principal is not really involved. They only involve the principal if there's some problem that they think that the principal must handle them because it is going above the dean. But overall, as principal of the campus, I report to the Vice Chancellor on the conditions of the campus there. So I have not left. And my office as a lecturer is still intact, and I have the keys with me. I go in at any time I want and I meet my students.
Let's come to the youth of today, because youth as I am, I have seen a lot of things happening around. And so I would want you to tell me, what is your general overview of the contemporary youth? vis-a-vis when you were youth?
Obviously, the error that we often make is that parents tend to assess and evaluate the youth of today against their experience of youth. It will be an error.
Okay.
The youth of today are located in a milieu which is unique and never existed before. When I was growing up, a phone call was a rarity. You couldn't just get a phone and dial. You couldn't even send a message to Europe or another country in Africa within one day. You had to go and do at the post office, and they will do telegram to another country. You had to pay for each word. They will count the words and you pay. Today, I can send zillions of texts to Iceland at virtually minimal cost, at no cost, internet. So the youth of today are in a different milieu. Once we appreciate that, we realize that the challenges they face, sometimes I say that we don't have the ability to appreciate what the youth go through. When I was growing up in the morning, everybody will read the Ghanaian Times and Graphic. They will listen to the same radio station, the same TV station. So everybody came out and spoke the same issues, the same language. Today, your son spent his time on Facebook chatting with somebody in Europe or North America or Asia, Singapore or someplace like that. You and your wife are chatting locally. Your wife is watching Kumbaja, sorry. And she's picking ideas from there.
Yeah.
I mean, also for Dazi was all that Ghanaians watched in the evening. And so, what we have today, we have to appreciate the fact that good old Marshall McLuhan said, a global village, where the affairs of remote areas are the very affairs of those here. And once we know that, we will have to tread with caution in evaluating our current youth. We first have to understand what they go through before we can say that they are good or they are no good. So I would rather say that the challenge is for those who consider themselves parents to learn and appreciate what their kids go through, work with them in order to appreciate and understand what they go through before they can guide them. Not outright overruling them and saying that as the government say, and I tell them, I have learned something about our history. Our society has become better and better than before. The truth about the matter is that even truancy existed in worse forms than we have today.
Okay.
We have progressed, and I appreciate every bit of where we are today.
Wow, what a debatable assertion, you know. I think a lot of people will debate Prof on this, but you know, Prof has his reasons, and I have listened to him a couple of times on why he thinks we have made a lot of progress. Now, you will need to sit with Prof, in fact, to get a lot more of some of these reasons. But now, Prof, let me come to talking about your life principles, because I need to tell my proximate youth that I usually ask this question because it is these life principles that will guide you to becoming who you want to be in the future. And so I would want to take your life principles. What has been your guiding principles in life generally?
Thank you very much. It's a very interesting personal question. And I think that, first of all, get focused and combine it with patience. Once you discover what you want to do and what you want to be, it might take some time. So patience is key. Being in a hurry in my life is not part of me. Patience, get focused, look at the big picture and pursue it. Now, 2, it doesn't matter where you rise up in society, especially if you are a Muslim. Humility, humility, humility. You can never stress that enough. Why? Because the very religion of Islam enjoins you that 5 times a day, go and join a congregation prayer. And for all you know, even if you are the president of the republic, The next person standing next to you could be the security man opening the gate when you drive in. He could be a student. If you are a professor in the university and you go to the mosque to stand to pray, the next student standing by you would have even failed to get admission to come and study in the university. But Islam says he should stand by you and you will express the equality and humility that defines humanity. So that alone has taught me that it doesn't matter where you rise to. Make yourself available. Make yourself accessible to any other person that wants to. And I have come to benefit a lot from this approach. I'll just give you one quick example. When in 2016, I was appointed the IMC chairman of Wa Polytechnic. I never knew how challenging the job was until I arrived there. For 2 years, the Polytechnic could not graduate their HND holders. 2014, 2015 were stuck. Their certificates were not issued. The students had finished their studies and gone home. There were 21 court cases against the Polytechnic, active in court. 2/3 of the staff were not reporting to work. After 2 weeks in the office, one day I walked out, came out, and went and sat by an old security man. And when I went to sit by him, he got up and I said, sit down. He didn't want to sit down. I forced him to sit on the same bench. We sat down and we're chatting. And I can tell you that what I learned from that man that day started giving me the way out on solving the Polytechnic's crisis. And within 8 months, when I left the Polytechnic, we have resolved what the one I said he tried several times and failed. And that as a son, he was so happy for what I had achieved. And I am telling you, the moment of turning around for me was bringing myself very down to talk to one of the lowest rank in the Polytechnic. Ideas, or they will say hikmah, can be found anywhere. So humility is very important. Wherever you are, try to make yourself available. And if for nothing at all, you are being obligated to go and join your fellow Muslims in prayer. And that is very important.
Wow.
That's my principle.
I am so much humbled, honored by what you just said. And I have learned a lot. And I think that I've picked 1 or 2 things that I'm going to have to start doing right after this. But let's talk of this before we take your final words. The North here has been seen as a place where we don't support our own. There is so much pull him down syndrome. Do you see it? And what is your advice to Northerners if my assertion to you is positive?
Obviously, I would not attempt to deny its existence. It is a canker in our society. And I also often wonder why we have that problem. You can't just explain it. One time I tried to say that it was an outcome of a polygamous relationship where, as a kid, when you are growing up, the first person you will learn to hate is your stepbrother, your stepbrother or stepsister, because as your mother baths you in the morning, she might transfer her jealousy and anger and start insulting her rival and her kids. And that's how you imbibe the ability to hate your siblings. Whether I'm right in that thinking, and I don't know whether I'm right or not, but it is something that I have reflected upon and I don't have the answers. The truth is that generally, especially in Dabong, we tend to hate each other easily. We can only say that it's time for us to open a new chapter in our relationship. In fact, this particular attitude got exacerbated by the several years of the chieftaincy divide. Now that we are moving past that, we should add it to some of the things that we will resolve to leave behind. Dagbang deserves better. And we will start by first looking in the mirror and telling yourself, why do I hate another person. Because the first victim of hate is the person who harbors the hatred. We should look up and see that the best thing to do in your active adult life is to make sure that when you grow old and you sit back, you can count on end people you have helped, supported, and enriched, whose lives you have supported and enriched. And that is only when you can have a very sound old age. And we all pray to get old and relax in our retirement years and reflect back. And I can tell you that even as I'm still in active service, I already can count more than those who have helped me in my life. And I tend not to remember. I tend to forget. I tend to ignore those who haven't helped, yet had the chance to help, refused to help. Rather, those who helped are those that I look up to. And I think every person who gets to old age deserves to have that experience of enjoying a reminiscence of people that have helped. Helping is golden.
Wow, helping is golden. And I just have some few people asking me some questions on Facebook and on WhatsApp. My own big brother, Honorable Amin, is asking about the motivation that keeps you to kind of help other people to grow and to climb the ladder of success. You are fond of helping people. What is the motivation? What motivates you to help people?
The first beneficiary is myself, feeling good.
Wow.
Once I help you, but what I don't like is I help you and you show up in my house with some yam or some, that frankly speaking, the bank purchase, I should accept it, but it often hurts. I mean, really, I don't need that gratification. I get personal gratification that I've helped somebody and you've gone on and I know that I've helped you. I don't have to see you again. It's important that I have that feeling. Guess what? As a Muslim, I expect that on the day of judgment, I would benefit from that.
Okay.
And when you come and give me something in return, like a gift, it's like you have devalued my benefit and reward for the judgment. So really, helping is okay. Once I can help you and I help you, you don't have to come and say anything, just go away. And I'm the first beneficiary for helping another person because it makes me feel good
and great.
Yes.
Okay, the other one is from Mr. Yakubu, a teaching assistant of UDS. He wants you to return his property. I believe it's Madam he's talking about.
Tell him he's not qualified to have that property, and tell him that
my brother, I'm not qualified.
My wife, my first wife, is deserving of me, and I'm deserving of him.
Okay.
He is not qualified.
Okay. All right. So, Prof, on this particular note, what would be your final words to anybody watching you right about now? The youth, the society, everybody watching you right about now.
My final word is simple. Those of us in Dabang today, in northern Ghana today, and in Ghana today, let us make sure that whatever you do, the primary objective is to improve upon yourself, your family, and your society. The tendency has been to be greedy and focus upon only yourself and your family. But I can assure you that if you are greedy to ignore the benefit of society, that what society can get from you, you will have a regretful old age. And as we all pray to get to old age, we should remember that when we retire and reflect, we'll look back with joy, our contribution, not just to our family and ourselves, but to the larger society as a whole. And that is what I think that every youth in the North and in Ghana should strive to look towards. Thank you.
I know we have agreed not to talk about GBC, especially in view of the fact that you have not resumed office yet. But I can't take leave of you without asking you how you got the job. Did you apply or you were appointed?
Please. It's a public service job. It was advertised in the dailies.
Okay.
Graphic and Ghanaian Times. I saw it. I applied. I got invited for interview. I went for the interview. Later, I learned we were 10 people who they interviewed. The panel was extensive. Media Commission is the only constitutionally mandated body that have the power to appoint the headships of GBC, Graphic Corporation and Ghanaian Times, or Graphic Communication Group and Ghanaian Times Corporation. So, New Times Corporation rather. So, the National Media Commission, if you check in the Constitution, it is a very well-structured one such that no government can have direct influence over the Constitution of Media Commission. And they have the power. The commission has the power to appoint. So I was interviewed and appointed based on merit. And I can assure you, I did not know anybody at Media Commission. Based on my performance, I was chosen. But the Constitution gives the privilege and exclusive right of appointment to Media Commission. But because we live in a republic, when Media Commission makes a decision on the appointment of this organization like GBC, Graphic Corporation, or Times Corporation, they have to, and then Ghana News Agency, they have to submit the name to the President of the Republic. Now, he will have the power of no objection, after which the Media Commission will announce it. So the President of the Republic can, on national security grounds, for example, reject an appointment of the Media Commission that Media Commission makes. So logically, my name was forwarded to the Flagstaff House for clearance, and once they cleared it, the National Media Commission announced it.
Wow. So how do you feel about this appointment?
Well, excited. Come on, I went and competed with 10 others.
And you were chosen.
And I got the job, so I should be happy that I did that.
So what are we to expect from you?
I will offer my best. That's all I can say. But whatever you will see, you wait after October 1, when I assume office. I will offer my best. Everything I do, I offer my best.
Wow.
And when I leave GBC, I would like to have a bragging right of saying that I have done well and it's time to bow out. And I'll leave and come back to UDS. I'm not leaving UDS. I'm taking a leave from UDS, and I'll come back after serving at GBC to continue teaching in the classroom, because that is where I really belong.
Wow.
Teaching in the university.
Thank you so very much, Professor Amin Alhassan, and we wish you all the best in your new job. And whenever you need any assistance from any of us, I believe we are always going to be there for you, and we wish you all the best, nothing but the best. And at this point, I would like to say that Nordness Yande, let's support our own. I think he's one of the few. I don't know if there's ever been a Northern Director General of the GBC. I don't know.
Yes, Don Cheve.
Yes.
Major John Cheve.
So I think you are the second.
Yes.
So this is a rare privilege for Nordness, and I think we should rather support him rather than try to pull him down and say that let's watch and see how he's going to end. He will fail. No, he will not fail in the name of God. Inshallah, he would make it just like he has always done in other offices in the name of our good God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So now, I would like to say a very big thanks to Professor Amin Alhassan. And at this point, today is my wife's birthday, Suad Wumbe Mutala. It's her birthday. She has been my backbone. She has supported me in everything that I do. And, you know, I just want to tell you, Suad, that I know that I'm not perfect. There are things that I'll say or do. I'll tease you sometimes, I'll make you irritated. But hey, remember that you would never find any other person who would love you the way I do. Thank you so much for being solidly behind me almost all this time, and happy birthday to you, baby. Thank you so much. And I would like to also say a big shout out to Alhaji Sadiq Saiba. Saiba is still here over there in Mecca, Saudi. We wish you all the best, and we wish you a safe trip back to Tamale. And also to Alhaji Baba Dane and Alhaji Aminu Isaku, all are still in Mecca. Both are still in Mecca at this moment. And we also like to say a very big thank you and shout outs to Mr. Kaba. He's the secretary to the principal of St. Vince College of Education in Yendi. And to everybody watching today, we'd like to say a very big thank you to you. And now my design today was done by JB Fashion Designs. He is behind the Lemashoko Market. You can call him on 0543 180 341. 0543 180 341, and you can also get a nice design like mine. My haircut was by Afabaku of Zaku's haircuts inside Yendi. Thank you, viewers. This is where time is going to allow me for today. And until I come your way again next week, it has been me, Abdul-Jalil Naabeli. I am a son of Musa Kumo. Keep watching Sagani TV and let the sponsorship begin coming. Until I meet you again next week. Bye-bye for now.